What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fishing for a Reason podcast. I am Jamie Propst, your host here and founder of Anglers Unlimited, along with my husband, Scott, our charter captain. We run charters out here, specifically in the San Juan Islands and Salish Sea. And we also teach people that just started boating how to catch their first lingcod, halibut, pot full of prawns, Dungeness crab, you name it. If you can fish for it out here, we're going to teach you how to catch it because it's what I wish I had when I started fishing. So with that, we're going to dive right in today. And if you do find value out of this is my one little promo before every episode. If you guys get value out of this podcast and you like it, it would really help us if you'd share it with somebody that you think would also find value. Hit that subscribe or follow button. And if you're looking to accelerate your fishing success, we do have a community where we actually teach people with courses and seminars every single month. We provide fishing maps with exact spots and trolling speeds and patterns and a whole bunch of stuff inside of that community. So if that is something that you're looking to find more about, you can email us at support@anglersunlimited.co with the phrase catch more fish, and we will give you information. So with that, we're going to dive in to some shrimping super fun tips and tactics today. We did have a full episode with Captain Scott and myself about shrimping before the opener. So if you want to go get some deep dive, step-by-step processes on how to get set up, ready, and rigged and what to do when you're shrimping for the very first time, go to episode 17 and that'll walk you through it. I am also a firm believer on the more you know about the fish, A, it's super fun and it's little facts that you can use to impress your friends and family when you're out there fishing. And B, you can be a more effective fisherman when you understand what these fish are all about and a little bit of biology behind them. So that's what we're going to talk about today with spot prawns. But as we dive into this, I want to start with the biology and the life cycle of the spot prawn. One of the most fascinating things about the Pacific spot prawn is they're actually hermaphrodites. So that's a fun fact that most people do not know. They start their life as males and then over time transition to females. This is a really unique trait that has big implications for the population sustainability and why WDFW regulates retention limits so very closely. So I'm going to walk you through the different stages that these guys have in their life cycle, and then we'll talk about a few more fun facts as we go. So stage number 1 is the larval stage. After hatching, these larvae are free floating, planktonic, like plankton. That's a hard word to say. Planktonic creatures that drift with currents. This stage will last these guys about 2 to 3 months, during which they will undergo multiple molts and begin developing adult features. And if you're not sure what molting is, it's actually the shedding of the exoskeleton and then the regrowth of it. It's a pretty interesting process. The juvenile stage 2, once they settle to the seafloor, which is often in rocky areas or near deep canyons, these guys are going to live as males for about the first 1 to 2 years of their life. Around age 3, many of the males will start to transition into females. This process is triggered by size, hormones, and environmental conditions. So what's really interesting about environmental factors that trigger this transition, cooler, deeper waters actually seem to delay the transition of these guys a little bit due to the slower growth rate. So the warmer the water is, that actually accelerates the molting cycles and growth, meaning prawns may hit the size and threshold a little earlier and change a little sooner. So that's one reason spot prawn life cycles can actually have a variance. So you're going to hear me say as I'm talking through this, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 4 years, there's a wide range. And the reason is because in regions like British Columbia versus Puget Sound versus Southeast Alaska, those things are all going to be a little bit different. They all are the same species of prawn, the Pacific spot prawn, but their actual transition rate and growth rate will vary just a little bit, which is super cool, super fascinating, and super interesting, I think. So females can actually carry thousands of fertilized eggs under their abdomen through the winter, fanning them constantly with their swimmerettes to keep them oxygenated until they actually hatch in the spring. And when you are prawning out here, occasionally, even in May, we've pulled up pots that have maybe 1 or 2 with those eggs still in the abdomen. Just take a cool look at them. They're really interesting, but throw them back in the water quickly. It's very fascinating how these things reproduce, and keep those breeders right back in the water as fast as possible. So don't count them in your limit. The spot prawns, they're very deep dwellers. You're going to find them between 150 to 600 feet deep, hiding in rocky crevices, boulder fields, and muddy spots. No, so just so you know from where they live, one thing that's really interesting is we have a resident sonar expert, Steve Chamberlain, inside of our Anglers Unlimited community. We also hire him as a speaker for our salmon school. If you're interested in salmon school, it is a in-person event that we do once a year where we host I guess it's a seminar or a training. It's like a half-day training inside of a classroom where people come and we teach people how to do everything related to getting ready and rigged up for salmon. And part of that process is we hire Steve to teach us about the sonar setup, setting up your sonar properly so you actually can know for a fact that you're seeing the right things on the sonar. And one interesting thing that he has taught inside of our online membership is the fact that you can find shrimp on your sonar, and to make sure your sonar is dialed in properly so you can see those big clouds of shrimp and know that where you're putting your pot is literally loaded and it's just going to be one soak and you're done. So thank you, Steve, for that. And it's really cool to be able to identify these guys and just target them very effectively and very quickly when you're out there shrimping. So these guys are found from Alaska to Southern California. They're most abundant in British Columbia and Washington waters. So like, as an example, we have friends that had gone to Alaska for several years in a row, and Scott had gone up with them and they did a little bit of shrimping, and it just was not near as lights out as the shrimping was here in Washington. So found that really interesting. It does depend on where you're at. And of course, there's a lot of factors, but shrimping was much more abundant in our area, which is why there's a great commercial fishery in this area as well. So the season is short, and we often get asked, why is the shrimping season so short? It's truly because those females carry the eggs through the winter into spring. So we want to time those seasons carefully to avoid harvesting egg-bearing females. So that way we limit the impact on population transitioning into reproductive age during that off season. So as you know, that we just had an opener here, I think it was May 21st was the first day, and we had 3 days out in the San Juan Islands area. We have another opener coming up in the area from on the 5th and the 6th, and then I think a third one in June as well. So there's a lot of opportunity. Typically what happens is they're going to assess how the population is doing, and we will usually get a second opportunity to go out and harvest these guys. Shrimping is so much fun. It's a blast to fill your freezer with. So I highly recommend, if it's not something you're geared up and ready to do, go to anglersunlimited.co/shrimp. And we will send a gear diagram guide. So I'm such a visual person. And when I was learning how to do all this stuff, I'm like, okay, I get that I need all these things, but how do I put all the things together? So I made a diagram for you guys that are new to shrimping and want to see exactly how we do our setup. We tweaked it once we talked to a local in Friday Harbor. Shout out Brenda, who taught us this really incredible way to rig our pots that made it easier to manage and also more effective on the shrimping grounds. And so I created a diagram to show people how to do that if they want to level up their shrimping game. So anglersunlimited.co/shrimp. It'll just emailed once you put your name and email in the form, it'll go right to your inbox. So you can go ahead and get that set up and out there fishing ASAP before the next opener. So we have an opener, I believe when this podcast releases, we will have another opener in our area on the 5th and the 6th. Hood Canal, a quick little report for you guys. So after the opener, there was a Hood Canal opener. There also was here in our area, and people were just catching shrimp like crazy. Some of our community inside of our membership posted that shrimping ain't easy unless you're at Iceberg Point, which was exactly our experience as well. Scott went out with charters every day, and he also took me out. So I got to go get my limit of shrimp in the evening, and we were just throwing shrimp back like crazy. So it was really fun out at Iceberg. We did have some reports of people shrimping out at Eastern not having the same success. Waldron did kick out some really nice shrimp reports. So that's a little bit of the update there. Also, Hood Canal was just limits like crazy. So as long as you just are careful and avoid other pots when you're out there, you'll have a great day. So a few things I wanted to also touch on related to shrimping. Lessons learned. So every time that you go into a fishery and it's a new season and you kind of have to relearn it because you haven't done it for a year, like, you know what to do, but then it's like, all right, we got all the gear. We got to remanage and reorganize and reassess and get our crew on board and make sure everything flows smoothly. And shrimping is one of those every single year. It never fails. So a couple tips that I thought I would bring to you guys to think about when you are shrimping is if you are using those SMI reel spools, which are amazing. I'll make sure to link them in the show notes. If you want more information and a video on that, go to episode 17, where we show you. Those things are awesome. But when I first went to set it up and do my first pot pull, it had been a year and I made a very critical mistake. We also use C-links, which are super efficient for attaching and detaching our buoys. And I took the C-link, which is a heavy metal link, and I put it inside of the spool, and there's a little spot, but I left like a tail of rope. Now, when you have a tail of rope and you're spinning it quickly, that tail of rope is going to swing. And when it swings, it hits things hard and fast when you're out in the water. So that was my first little mistake. I left a little bit of just rookie mistake, inches of rope on the end. So make sure everything is secured nice and tight so you're not going to whack yourself in the head or whack the side of the gunnel when you're actually spinning those guys up. Let's see what else was a great tip. Always have an extra bait canister on board. So if anything happens and you lose anything, you can just quickly pop that in there. Boat hook is always good to have. We had some weather kick up on Friday. So I went out on Friday evening with Scott and it picked up pretty good. So it's a little more difficult to manage the pots. This is a really good one. So we used to use those Scotty pot pullers where you had to actually pull on the rope and keep tension on the rope to pull it up. It worked totally fine, but gives you a little bit more of a workout, which is fine. One thing we did really appreciate, we switched to the Discovery Bay pot puller, and that thing is a freaking beast. It just hauls the pot in like nothing. And they're really fun to use because it's easy. Our entire program is just a lot more seamless. But in weather, when we had some nasty weather, getting that pot pulled up with the old Scotty, if you had like 2 to 3 foot swells, you would hear it in the pot puller. It would go like it would struggle every time that there was that extra tension when the boat lifted with the waves. And so with the Discovery Bay pot puller, the thing came up like a champ. It made shrimping in a little bit tougher conditions way easier. So that was a pretty cool thing. If it is something you're considering from a safety standpoint, I think it's totally worth the extra investment to just know that you can handle your pots no matter what the situation is, and you can do it efficiently and effectively. There were some Coast Guard calls. It happens every single year where boats do go down during the season. Oftentimes it's something that was maybe a little bit smaller or a crew that was inexperienced or something malfunctioned. Either way, safety first, always, gear second. It's really easy to get caught up in not wanting to lose a pot, and things can go south very quickly in the wind. So always watch your forecast and make a decision. It's not worth 80 shrimp to go out there and have a really, really bad day in the water. So yeah, we use SailFlow. That's our favorite app, my favorite app. Scott likes Windy. I like SailFlow, and also checking several of the other wind models, NOAA forecast as well, to make sure that you are fully aware of what it looks like out there before you go set your pots and then go retrieve them. Okay, so now let's talk about, you get your limit of shrimp. You are super fired up. You got to clean your catch. So one of the ways, I'm going to link the video of head ripping technique. We just rip the heads off. It's a very easy way to clean them. You can use the heads actually as bait for halibut if you want to freeze them, or you just toss them in the water, whatever works best for you. Some people really like to grill the whole shrimp or cook it that way, but what you do is, and I'll link the video, is you put your thumb kind of on the little crevice of where the head meets the tail, and you do a quick little twisting motion and you're done. Just as simple as that. But what you want to do is you want to chill these guys quickly. So as soon as you pull them out, do the head twisting, keep them cool and ready to eat. So once you get them home, we thought it would be fun to share our 4 favorite spot prawn recipes. And inside of our community, we'll have walkthrough tutorials on exactly how we create all of these recipes. If that's something that you are curious about, again, email us at support@anglersunlimited.co. Catch more fish and we'll give you information. But 4 of our favorite spot prawn recipes are: number 1, boiling the shrimp in seawater. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they go home, fill a pot with tap water, add salt, and they think it's going to taste great. And it actually kind of dilutes that beautiful saltwater Puget Soundy flavor. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, of the shrimp. So what we recommend is when you're out on the water, take a quick bucket, of seawater, not in the marina, not in the marina. It's disgusting. But do it out. Do it out when you're out shrimping. Just a quick little dunk bucket and bring that home with you and boil the shrimp in that. So just plain shrimp in seawater is freaking delicious. Another favorite of ours is garlic butter in a skillet. So I just do garlic butter. I mince up some garlic, put it in there so you get that really aroma effect. And then you just literally put the shrimp tails side by side, flipping them over and saute them until they are nice and curled and done. And they are freaking good. You can throw them on the grill. We have the big green egg. And it's really fun to just put them on skewers, pop them on the grill for a super short period of time. And it gets that really robust charred flavor. So freaking delicious. Another way that I really like to do it is spot prawn ceviche. And for those of you that are ceviche lovers, use your regular most favorite ceviche recipe. One quick tip though is that the thing that makes ceviche a little challenging is getting the shells off of the raw shrimp. If you leave them, we did a little experiment, but leave them overnight in the fridge one day, the shells will come off so much easier than the ones that come out that same day. So give them an overnight, then the shells pop off easier. You can make your ceviche faster, and it's absolutely freaking delicious. And of course, Baja style shrimp tacos, one of my favorites. I could list so many different recipes, but again, we go into these in details, or you can just Google it and you can find these recipes and make them at home. But it's so much fun. It's like Bubba Gump, shrimp 1,000 ways. So enjoy the magic of shrimping season. If you have extra, give them to your neighbors. They're way better fresh than frozen. So that's what we do is we actually don't freeze our shrimp because it's just too good when they're fresh. So we'd rather share them with others and let them enjoy the beauty of what we get to catch and keep here out in our backyard of the San Juan Islands. And with that, we will catch you guys next week, same time, same place, same channel. I hope you have a beautiful time on the next shrimp opener. Jig up some lingcod, go grab a halibut while you're out there too, and have a freaking blast. Summer is finally here and it sure feels like it. So have fun and shoot us an email if you have any questions or ideas for something that you guys would like us to talk about here on the podcast. We would love to hear from you. Have a beautiful day, everyone.